Tonight on your News at 9, Christmas is fast approaching, and the Joplin Parks and Rec Department is making sure kids can still get their letters to Santa. And you've heard of Small Business Saturday, but what about Small Brewery Sunday? A Pittsburgh brewery is giving that concept a try to get four-staters to drink locally.
Travelers are returning from their Thanksgiving trips as cases of COVID-19 and hospitalizations hit record highs. In New York, I'm Alex Hogan. I'll have that story coming up.
Meteorologist Nick Kelly has your weather. Andy Ciateco is on sports. I'm Mike Mahoney, and this is your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Well, thanks as always for tuning in. With Christmas fast approaching, the North Pole is gearing up for an influx of mail as children write their letters to Santa. And the Joplin Parks and Rec Department is making it easy for kids to make sure their wishes are read. KOAM's Caitlin Shive tells us more.
He's making a list and checking it twice, and although Santa may not be coming to town just yet, you still have time to write him a letter for Christmas.
He wants to partner with us, and it's just an easy thing that we can do to help get letters to him a little bit faster.
The Joplin Parks and Recreation's Letters to Santa campaign is underway, giving kids the opportunity to have their wishes sent off to the North Pole via mail.
We'll need to put Santa's address, which is 9 Reindeer Road, North Pole. And then they'll just need to get it in our mailbox, either here or at Academy. And then in the letter, so they'll need the address, and they'll need their wish list, their name, and their return address.
The campaign happens every year as a special way to give Santa some extra help during the holidays.
We've been doing it for a really long time, but we love partnering with Santa.
6-year-old Nakaya Thomas is excited to write her letter to Santa this year with hopes of getting a crystal flyer for Christmas.
It's like this fairy, and it can be pink or purple, and you put up your hand, and then it starts flying, but if you put it down low, it starts flying low.
She's got a growing list of gifts she'd like from Santa.
A phone, a new tablet.
A new tablet, and what else? A swimming pool? Didn't you say that?
As the saying goes, you better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, and here's why. Every kid who writes a letter to Santa and drops it off for the Parks and Rec Department to send to the North Pole will get a letter from Santa in return.
The last day is December 7th to turn in letters, so that ensures that Santa has enough time to get them and get them mailed back. But sometimes it's after Christmas before he can write back because he's just so busy.
In Joplin, Caitlin Shive, KOAM News.
And you can find the full information for the campaign on our website. That, of course, is KOAMnewsnow.com. All right, here's Nick Kelly with a look at your weather.
It's been actually a much better day, Mike. We had temperatures back near 50 once again. Cloud cover to start today. Some rain chances, which resulted in only 1/100 of an inch. But still, a nice rebound after we started at around 40 degrees this morning. The system that brought in the rain chances is pretty much out of here now. We're starting to see mostly clear skies working for the rest of the night. With that said, though, northwest wind, that's also leading to a cold night ahead of us. As we look at the future track for the morning ahead of us, we'll drop back into the mid-20s. It's going to be a cold start with those winds that gusting near 30 at times. It's going to feel like we're in the teens to start the morning out. I do think we'll warm up some, but not very much. Only about 42 despite mostly sunny skies. I've got another storm system on the way by the middle of the week, Mike, and it's kind of looking interesting. We'll break that down for you here in a bit.
Sounds good, Nick Kelly. Thanks so much. Over in Pittsburgh, the Jolly Fox Brewery decided to take advantage of game day and the community's support for shopping local this weekend with something called Small Brewery Sunday. The idea was to encourage patrons to have a drink locally while watching their favorite football team. Jolly Fox offered specials on their menu and merchandise for the occasion. The deals kept foot traffic moving at a steady pace throughout the day.
Actually, this weekend business did pick up quite a little bit. We had different deals going on for merchandise, like buying cups, different mugs and stuff like that, t-shirts and hoodies. So we did sell probably a little bit more merchandise this week than we normally do.
And it doesn't look like it's too tough to get people to stop by and watch their red-hot Kansas City Chiefs. There's something new to check out in Webb City's King Jack Park that will give you a local history lesson. Near the iconic Praying Hands Monument, visitors can now find a tile mural that tells the story of how local artist Jack Dawson created the famous statue. Earlier today, Dawson told KOAM that he didn't see the mural until it was fully completed, and viewing it took him back to the 70s when he was making the Praying Hands. He also says that the mural reminds him of all the assistance he got from four-staters who helped him make the statue a reality. Today, millions of Americans hit the road after a weekend of Thanksgiving celebrations. Fox News' Alex Hogan has more.
Holiday travelers setting a pandemic-era record despite calls to stay home. The number of passengers passing through airports this weekend reaching the highest level since mid-March. And as travelers head home from their busy Thanksgiving trips, it's expected to be a busy day around the country. This past week marks the busiest travel weekend since the pandemic started. The TSA screening more than 1 million travelers before the holiday. Still, it's far fewer than years past.
Normally, as we gear up for Thanksgiving, we're talking about how are we going to handle all the extra activity. This year, our main message is follow those health orders.
AAA predicted 95% of travelers, 47 million people, would drive this year, despite the CDC asking Americans to stay home. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy says the fight is far from over when it comes to COVID.
The great news is there's light at the end of the tunnel, vaccines in particular. But for the next 2 or 3 months, we're in the fight of our lives.
The number of hospitalizations increasing at the end of this holiday weekend. On Saturday, New Hampshire, Oregon, Idaho, Oklahoma, and Minnesota broke their own state single-day records for new COVID-19 case numbers. Medical experts say it is almost certain that there will be an uptick after this holiday travel, and travelers will need to abide by state testing and quarantine guidelines. In New York, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
It's now time for us to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Tonight, we pay tribute to Raymond Albert Dykes of Oswego, Kansas. Thank you, sir, for your service and your courage. For more information on all our four-state heroes or to nominate your own, just log on to koamnewsnow.com.
Our time-lapse from Indigo Sky just outside of Seneca, Missouri showed everybody fair throughout the course of our Sunday. Plenty of mostly cloudy skies to start the day, but it was nice to get some afternoon sun before we hit sunset this evening. With the clouds, though, it was actually part of a passing wave that skirted by just to our south, but still close enough to bring in some moisture to result in some mainly light scattered showers in some parts of the area today. Fortunately, if you were wanting more rainfall, we didn't get a whole lot of it, mainly 1/10 of an inch at best on average, with maybe a couple spots south of Grand Lake near 1/2 an inch. Even though this system didn't do much, we will see what the next one on the way will do by the time we hit Wednesday. In the meantime, though, behind this system and the cold front, look at that northwest wind at 10 to 20 during the afternoon. And that's still up there between 15 and 25 miles per hour. And we're going to have those gusts up there as well. That means temperatures right now, mainly mid-30s. But looking at the feels like temperatures, it feels like we're in the mid-20s. So this is definitely a little taste of winter that we have set up on top of us for tonight. And that does include the city of Joplin as well. Skies clearing off to your southeast, but you're cold at 36. Feels like 24, and we're going to eventually see those numbers actually drop back into the 20s before we start warming up again tomorrow. The Skywatch Storm Tracker, again, on the backside of our storm system now, combining with another system coming out of the Gulf. So we're going to talk about rain for the southeast and a good chance for a little snowstorm of sorts for parts of the Great Lakes. But for us, we're dry going into Monday, high pressure with that northwest wind behind that system, keeping us cool to start the week out. And as this system on top of us that gave us the rain today, for some at least, scoots off to the east, we have our next wave coming out of the Gulf of Alaska. And even though it's still a good ways away, it's not going to waste any time getting here. Before it does get here, though, we're mostly clear. We're quiet, but we are cold for the overnight hours as overnight lows drop back into the mid-20s. Fortunately, even though we'll have mostly sunny skies, we will see temperatures warm back up. On the other hand, though, that northwest breeze stays in place at 5 to 15 with some gusts near 20 at times. So 26 in the morning, 39 by noon, afternoon highs around 42. And again, keep an eye on those feels like temperatures, because with that breeze, it's going to feel like we're in the teens during the morning hours. And even as we warm up during the course of the afternoons, it's still going to feel like we're in the mid to upper 30s during the course of the day before we start to improve things a little bit by Tuesday. But ahead of that next storm system, we could see partly sunny skies, highs in the lower 50s on Tuesday. Then comes Wednesday. Everyone's starting to come on board with more moisture ready to work in with the system. So we'll have the system potentially start as rain chances on Wednesday, potential rain snow mixed, carrying us through Thursday and Friday before it scoots out by the time we hit the weekend. Still too early to say who's going to get exactly what and how much, but confidence in the system giving us some wintry weather chances are increasing, something that we'll keep a close eye on. 42 tomorrow, 51 on Tuesday. We'll watch for our next system Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday morning. Then looking dry and mainly cool for the weekend, Mike.
Well, thanks so much, Nick Kelly. Still to come, we've got the latest on a possible coronavirus relief bill. Join us for news. Welcome back. Democrats and Republicans are still at odds with each other over another coronavirus relief bill. Many on Capitol Hill feel the logjam must be broken, and the sooner the better. Fox News' Kevin Cork is in Washington with the latest.
Without question, the impasse continues on Capitol Hill as both sides, Republicans and Democrats, try to come up with some sort of a deal for a coronavirus relief package. But even though this impasse has been going on now for quite some time, there are some on Capitol Hill who think the logjam not only can, but absolutely must be broken, and time is of the essence. Fox News has learned that there are some measures that may be attached to a spending package that has to be passed by December 11th to avert a government shutdown that could offer some relief, even as federal health officials meet this week to try to make crucial decisions about whom they'll recommend getting the coronavirus vaccine first. Understand the bottom line. Pressure is now mounting on Congress to step up and help families and in particular small business.
And so that to me is just fundamentally wrong to say you're out of business now and your workers are unemployed, particularly whenever there's not any CARES Act relief package anymore.
I'll tell you what would really make a difference here. A big federal stimulus sooner than later with a lifeline to small businesses, restaurants, folks who are unemployed. That would be a game changer, not just in their lives and in their prospects.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, you may recall, turned down a $1.8 trillion offer from the Treasury Secretary, Stephen Mnuchin, along with the White House and the GOP, hoping somehow to get a relief package out to the American people. At this point, that deal has not landed, but there is renewed hope on Capitol Hill that somehow, some way, the two sides will get together and break the logjam. In Washington, I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
The coronavirus pandemic is also having a negative impact on the world's response to AIDS. Officials with the United Nations say because of the pandemic, the global health community's efforts to address AIDS infections have been pushed even further off track, and that goals set for this year are being missed. They also say global action to end AIDS and other health emergencies must be increased. According to the UN, almost 300,000 additional new HIV infections are expected between now and 2022, as well as up to 148,000 more AIDS-related deaths. Colorado Governor Jared Polis announced this weekend that he and his partner have both tested positive for the coronavirus. Polis said that both he and Colorado's first gentleman are asymptomatic and that he will be working remotely. Polis has become the latest high-profile politician to test positive for COVID-19. That list includes President Trump, several governors, senators, and members of the House of Representatives. And we've got the latest on the Senate battle in Georgia and Joe Biden's cabinet picks when we return. Plus, you'll also learn how the president-elect sprained his foot this weekend and what his recovery will look like. Stay tuned. Get up. Welcome back to your News at 9. Police in the Granada Hills neighborhood of Los Angeles say two would-be car thieves tried to make off with a vehicle belonging to the security team of the Los Angeles County District Attorney. They say that the thieves tried to take one of the two cars right from outside the DA's home. When a security officer exited one of the cars, two suspects pulled up in their own vehicle, and one of them attempted to get inside the empty security vehicle. An officer fired at the suspects, who left the scene without being hit. A few hundred Black Lives Matter activists demonstrated outside the home of Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti this weekend. That's because they don't want Garcetti appointed to President-elect Joe Biden's cabinet. The demonstrators are using the hashtag #BlockGarcetti. They say the mayor has failed on issues including police reform and homelessness, and that he shouldn't be making decisions in Washington, D.C. Garcetti served as a co-chair to the Biden-Harris campaign. He's repeatedly said that he is not seeking a cabinet position in the Biden administration. Garcetti has reportedly been under consideration for Secretary of Transportation and Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Well, don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more news headed your way, as well as another weather update with meteorologist Nick Kelly and your KOAM Sports Report with Andy Ciateco. That's all headed your way right here on your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And when we return, the coronavirus pandemic isn't stopping children from getting back inside the classroom in the capital of Iraq. We've got that story and more coming right up.
Normally,
Iran's supreme leader is vowing retaliation for whoever is responsible for killing the country's top nuclear scientist who led Tehran's suspended military nuclear program. This is elevating fears of reignited tensions across the Middle East. Fox News' Ryan Chilcote has more.
Israel hasn't said anything about this attack, nor is it a given that they would, even if they are behind it. What is clear is that this was a very well-planned military-style ambush. Iranian state media says the convoy that was carrying the scientists was traveling down a highway when the bomb went off. The convoy stopped, and at least 5 gunmen popped up and opened fire on the scientist's car. Israel has long been suspected of employing exactly these kinds of assassinations in Iran, including one of another nuclear scientist almost exactly 1 decade ago today. As his funeral got underway, Iran's supreme leader referred to Mohsen Fakhrizadeh as a prominent and distinguished nuclear and defense scientist. Iran watchers, meanwhile, have compared him to Robert Oppenheimer, the scientist who led the Manhattan Project that created the atomic bomb during World War II. In any case, the Iranians are saying the scientist's death won't slow their nuclear program, which they maintain is for civilian peaceful purposes. You'll recall they resumed that program when the Trump administration pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal. Analysts say this attack is almost certain to renew tensions between the U.S. and Iran in the waning days of President Trump's term, and some analysts say it could box in President-elect Biden in terms of what he can do for when it comes to Iran. The reason for that, of course, is that the Biden administration has said they would consider rejoining the Iran deal. If Iran thinks that the United States was behind this attack, provided Israel with intelligence, or even just supported it, it is possible Iran itself may not be so interested in that. In London, Ryan Chilcote, Fox News.
At least 31 soldiers are dead and another 24 are injured following a suicide attack in Afghanistan. Local officials said that the attacker drove a military Humvee full of explosives onto an army base and set it off. Those soldiers stationed there were responsible for carrying out night raids and taking part in missions against the Taliban and ISIS in eastern and southern provinces in the country. As of now, no one is claiming responsibility for the attack. This comes as Afghan government representatives and the Taliban hold face-to-face talks in Qatar for the first time in an attempt to end the country's decades-long war. Students have returned to the classroom in Iraq. Pupils headed back to school today in Baghdad amid ongoing coronavirus pandemic. All students, teachers, and school staff are required to wear face masks and sterilize their hands at the school gates. All of the country's schools closed back in February due to the virus. Reported cases of coronavirus are said to be rising in Iraq, but at a slightly lower rate than in previous weeks. And we'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather. Stay tuned.
Oh, sorry about that, everybody. It's a lot better. Works a lot better with the microphone on. Anyway, we are seeing a northwest wind behind our storm system rolling in at about 15 to 25 during the day, and it's still up there. So behind the system that gave us some scattered showers this morning and the cloud cover today, look at how cold it is already. We are in the mid-30s, but it feels like the mid-20s all across the area, and that does include the city of Joplin, where the airport itself is checking in at 36. Feels like 24 with a north breeze at 23 miles per hour. Looking at our Monday, it's going to be a cold start. No other way to slice it and dice it. We'll drop back into the mid-20s, but at least we'll rebound to the lower 40s, but still leaving us with a cool but mostly sunny Monday lined up for us. Let's break down the Skywatch Storm Tracker to set up once again. The same storm system that gave us some showers this morning is off to the east now, and as with another cold front, the same front that worked on through earlier this afternoon, that's going to bring in some snow chances for parts of the Great Lakes, while the southeast has to deal with rain to start the new week out. For us, it's all about that area of high pressure, keeping that northwest wind in place for tonight. And while we see this main upper wave scoot out to the east, we'll watch for the next one, eager to race our way by the middle of the week and bring in some rain and even some wintry weather on the way as it starts to work in. So at least we're mostly clear and quiet for tonight, but that northwest breeze takes us back into the mid-20s to start your Monday morning out. And again, looking at a cool afternoon with mostly sunny skies, but at least we'll warm up some after our cold start. 26 in the morning, 39 by noon, and an afternoon high of about 42. With the northwest wind during the day at 5 to 15, can't rule out some gusts near 20, but the gusts in the morning could make it feel like we're in the mid-teens for most spots to start the morning drive back to work and school. And even as we warm up into the 40s, it's going to feel like we're in the mid to upper 30s because of that wind that will still be in place. Want to quickly show you the rest of the week, at least the middle of the week. Tuesday, we're partly sunny, we're dry, but ahead of our next storm system. Looks like plenty of moisture wants to start working into the system, so we'll watch for rain chances on Wednesday, rain and snow chances on Thursday before this system eventually clears out with some scattered snow showers by Friday morning. Still too early to tell who's going to get exactly what and how much, but Doug and I are keeping a close eye on this, and we'll continue to keep you updated on the system as it continues to set up shop for Wednesday and Thursday. But 42 tomorrow, 51 Tuesday. We'll drop back to 39 with the system right on top of us by Thursday, and then we'll dry out and stay cool for the weekend, Mike.
Sounds good, Nick. Thanks as always. And check this out, Nick. United Airlines reportedly plans to fly charters between Brussels and Chicago to help get Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine distributed once it's approved by the FDA. According to a report in the Wall Street Journal, United will be taking part in what's called the first mass air shipment of vaccines supported by the FAA. The report comes as Pfizer is making plans to distribute its vaccine quickly once it gets the official go-ahead. The Journal says United will be allowed to carry 5 times the amount of dry ice usually permitted because the vaccine must be stored at an extremely low temperature. And here's some amazing footage. TMZ reports that this weekend over in Hermosa Beach, California, 2 vehicles were part of a mini Make America Great Again caravan, and a third vehicle became involved in a scary road rage incident with them. Witnesses say 2 drivers with American flags fluttering from their cars wanted to take part in an impromptu parade down the narrow streets. According to witnesses, while the 2 were stopped at an intersection, a third car pulled up behind them and its driver started yelling at one of the other drivers. The drivers of all 3 vehicles took off and ultimately were involved in an accident, leaving the non-MAGA car flipped upside down. There was no word if anyone was injured. Well, stick around, sports fans. We'll be right back with Andy Ciateco and your KOAM News at 9 Sports Report. Andy has got a lot of cool stuff headed your way, including highlights from today's Chiefs matchup with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that's coming up in just 2 quick minutes.
Kansas City is looking good through the first 11 weeks. The Chiefs are 9-1 on the year and second in the AFC behind Pittsburgh. The Chiefs are aiming for a 6th straight win this afternoon against Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Midway through the first, Chiefs up 3. Patrick Mahomes hooks up with Tyreek Hill. He stays on his feet for the 75-yard touchdown. Kansas City on top by 10. The next Chiefs possession, Mahomes hits Hill in stride. He's going to make a guy miss and scores a 45-yard touchdown. Tyreek Hill had 203 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter alone. 17-0 Kansas City. Third quarter, Chiefs leading by 10. Mahomes throws down the sideline to Tyreek Hill for the 20-yard score, his third touchdown of the game. And it gets close in the fourth quarter. Tampa Bay down 10. Tom Brady finds Mike Evans in the end zone. Buccaneers get within 3. Then under 2 minutes to play on 3rd and 7, Mahomes rolls out and finds his guy Hill for the first down to ice the game for Kansas City. Mahomes had 462 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Kansas City holds on to win 27-24.
It's a lot of trust Coach puts in me to make the right decision. You can see that I'm trying to get the ball in my hands quickly, get it to the guys, and let them make plays in space. And another thing, I mean, they have a really good defense, especially against the run, and so they're getting a lot of penetration up front. And I'm trying to get to our playmakers in space and let guys make plays.
The Lamar Tigers are back in the Class 2 state championship for the first time since 2017. Lamar dominated Jefferson 42-7 on Saturday in the semifinal contest. The Tigers took control early, scoring 14 points within the first 4 minutes of play and never looked back. Lamar's offense totaled 412 yards, netting 354 on the ground. The Tigers are just 1 win away from winning a state title under first-year head coach Jared Beshore, and he credits the O-line for getting them here.
Our offensive line is incredible. From where we started back in June to where we are now, those kids have gotten stronger, they've gotten more knowledgeable, and then they're just as tight as brothers up there. So they're always making checks. They're the guys that make us go. And I told them that back in June, that if we're going to win championships, it was going to be because of them. So they have to take the lead.
Webb City's drive for its 16th state title in program history came to an end on Saturday. The Cardinals fell short in the Class 5 semifinals, losing to Duplatte County 24-21 in a rematch of last year's Class 4 championship. The Cards end the season 11-2. Webb City notched 330 yards of total offense. However, the Cardinals started the game off with 2 lost fumbles on their first 2 drives, while the Pirates jumped out to a 14-0 lead.
There was a little panic early, especially we weren't moving the ball very well early on, and so there was some panic, and then we get one score, and then we get another one, and getting her tied back up there, and I just felt like we could never get the advantage,
Cassville's bid to a second straight Class 3 championship appearance ended in a wild semifinal game on Saturday. The Wildcats trailed by 17 heading into the fourth quarter against Maryville. Cassville scored 28 points in the final 12 minutes, but the Spoof Hounds' Connor Drake hooked up with Caden Stokline in the end zone for a go-ahead touchdown with 11 seconds left in the game. The Wildcats lost by the final 30-28, ending the season with a 10-3 record.
We're going to walk away. That's a very good football team over there from Maryville that battled us tooth and nail, and I tip my hat to Coach Webb. What a great program and facility and community they have up here. But we're going to walk out of here with our head held high that we competed our tail ends off.
That's a look at sports. Back with more news after this.
Pope Francis is making history by naming the first African American to the College of Cardinals. Fox News' Lauren Green has the details.
Pope Francis this weekend elevates 13 new members to the College of Cardinals, the highest-ranking clergy in the Roman Catholic Church. Included for the first time in history, an African-American, Wilton Gregory, the Archbishop of Washington, D.C.
This is an honor that I am experiencing, but it comes with many responsibilities.
The 72-year-old Gregory was born in Illinois. He rose through the ranks of the church, shepherding the American bishops through tumultuous times, the first wave of the clergy abuse scandal. Then, in 2004, Pope John Paul II named him Archbishop of Atlanta, Georgia. Last year, in the wake of another abuse scandal involving the now disgraced ex-cardinal and ex-priest Theodore McCarrick, Pope Francis appointed him as Archbishop of Washington, D.C., the seat of American politics. But many are asking why it took so long for America to have a black man receive the red hat of a prince of the church. George Weigel, author of The Next Pope, says the wounds of slavery and racism also corrupted Catholicism.
The Catholic Church, in the wake of the Civil War, did a very bad job of reaching out to newly emancipated slaves. I think that's the beginning of the story.
Gregory will become a cardinal at a time when America needs healing from both political and racial divisiveness.
My responsibility must be to energize, to inspire, to invite others to take up the responsibilities that they have. And I'm very glad to see that so many people are doing it, especially young people.
The new class of cardinals is the most diverse yet. Experts say Pope Francis wants the global church to reflect the people it serves. In New York, Lauren Green, Fox News.
And today, Pope Francis held a mass with his newest cardinals in Vatican City. 11 of the 13 cardinals sat near St. Peter's Basilica's central altar. The Pope presented them with red hats, which symbolizes that they are now princes of the church. Coronavirus restrictions prevented 2 of the cardinals from making it to the ceremony. Being selected means they could eventually head Vatican departments or even become saints themselves. And we're not done yet here on your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. There's no shortage of toy drives during the holiday season, but would you believe that one of them is being spearheaded by a 6-year-old boy in Georgia? And you'll meet him when we return. A young boy in Georgia wants lots of Hot Wheels cars this Christmas season, but not for himself. Landon Floyd is more concerned about other children having the popular toy cars to open on Christmas morning. Fox News' Brooke Zahner takes a look.
6-year-old Landon Floyd can tell you pretty much anything you want to know about Hot Wheels.
Board and you can do that, put some more on the hat.
But his collection isn't for him.
I was upset because kids would not have any toys. And no mom, no dad, no bed.
The idea came from one of Landon's friends who was collecting Barbie dolls to donate.
As we were driving off, Landon kind of got upset because he realized little boys probably would not like Barbies. And so he wanted to do something for the little boys.
The original goal was to collect around 100 Hot Wheels toys to give to Must Ministries and Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. Landon started his collection with just a few toys that he bought with his own money.
So he actually bought the first few out of his own piggy bank, and we took a picture, and then from there we posted it on social media. My family started sharing it, friends started sharing it.
From there, the collection went from just a few toys to a couple hundred toys in a matter of weeks.
I have 420.
His new goal is to reach 500 toys, and the movement has caught on with people across the country.
Random people have sent it from the community. We've had some from California, from Seattle. Just so many people have just sent Hot Wheels.
Yeah, this is the one I like.
Landon's mom, Stephanie, says he's always had a big heart, and she's proud to help him make this goal a reality.
It's just refreshing to see a young kid care about just other people. And he's always been that way. He's always been the kid that just wants people to be happy. So to see it in this magnitude is really cool.
It's not just people who go to Florida to warm up. 40 sea turtles arrived in the subtropical Florida Keys this weekend after suffering what's known as cold stunning in the waters off Cape Cod. The Kemp's Ridley sea turtles are considered critically endangered. Hundreds of them were found washed up on beaches and were flown from New England to Marathon Airport in Florida. The local aquariums didn't have the capacity to take care of all of them, so a group of private pilots called Turtles Fly 2 donated their aircraft, fuel, and time. Cold stunning is a hypothermic reaction which occurs when sea turtles are exposed to cold water for a prolonged period of time. The turtles will eventually be returned to the ocean. All right, well, thanks so much for wrapping up your weekend with us. We will see you next week right here for more KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And of course, stay safe out there.